Welcome to Global Talent Link's IABC BookQuest of the Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. This is session 6. In our last session, you were challenged to write in your journal about something you were grateful for during the quarantine. While the time was certainly challenging to be at home, away from friends, away from school, what did you do with the extra time? Were you able to spend some more time with other family members? What good did you find in being home? For this session, we read Anne's diary entries dated January 22nd, 1944, up to and including March 15th, 1944. We're seeing that Anne is continuing to grow and mature. She even looks back at her previous entries and notices the changes in her attitude and her relationships with the others. She talks about how she was a different Anne back then. Most of these entries that we read for the session are focused on Peter and their growing relationship, their evolving relationship. She looks forward to talking with him often and realizes that they have things in common. They have a very similar temperament. Through Anne's writing about their conversations, we also get a glimpse of how he's feeling during this time. Peter confides in Anne that after the war, he doesn't want anyone to know that he is Jewish. In contrast, Anne's very optimistic, and she believes that Jews will one day be rewarded for what they have gone through. All is not safe. There's another burglary, which is especially troubling because it seems that the burglar may have a duplicate key. And they're very worried that perhaps they heard that there were people inside the building in the early morning hours. You know, as a reader, we're wondering, could their luck be running out? Are they going to be discovered? Ten vocabulary words are listed here. If you click on the link, it'll bring you to dictionary.com where you can read the definition and hear the pronunciation. My favorite this week is hoity-toity. I think that's a fun word. Our literary element for the session is theme. Theme is the essential idea or message that the author wants the reader to take away from the story. It must be inferred. It's not going to be stated for the reader. Some examples of theme could be love cannot be bought, to never give up, appearances can be deceiving, money can't buy happiness. We're, quite a bit through Diary of a Young Girl. What are some themes that you are noticing emerge while you read? What do you think are some overarching ideas here that we can apply to life in general? For our whole group activity, we will break out into smaller groups. And our goal will be to know a little bit more about the historical context during this story, during this book, World War II. A lot of you may have been familiar with the history, maybe from school, or it's just something that you've been interested in, so you've read other books about it. But in our small groups, we will read information about World War II from National Geographic Kids, and we will answer 5 questions. What countries formed the Axis and what countries were part of the Allied powers? What event led to the start of World War II? During World War II, what other groups of people besides Jews were targeted by the Nazis? Can you infer why the United States did not enter World War II until the bombing of Pearl Harbor? And how did World War II end? For the session, we have 12 questions that we may use to guide our discussions and check our understanding. Did you come up with any questions for the session? Again, about the book, Frank family. Maybe you have more questions about World War II after reading some information from the website. For our next session, you will read diary entries dated March 16th, 1944, up to and including April 15th, 1944. Again, feel free to take notes while you read. In our journal, our writing activity, write about a time where you felt trapped, lonely, or needed to get away. We hear a lot about Anne's typical teen troubles. So I want you to kind of think about, these feelings that teenagers often go through. Maybe you just needed to get away from a situation. Talk about that time. How did you deal with this situation? And bonus, if you have any questions that you want to discuss, feel free to share them in the chat or save them for our session together. Until next time, my friends.